Everybody has a right if they're a responsible adult.
The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
This is a case that's been bounced around back and forth throughout the court system.
Major Second Amendment case.
When you can legally pull the trigger, there is a terrifying moment that every armed citizen hopes never comes, but prepares for every single day. It is the moment when your safety, your family's life, or your very survival depends on one decision, one action, one trigger pull. But even if you are trained, even if you are justified in your heart, the law might not be on your side unless you understand the 6 legal moments when deadly force becomes not just allowed, but absolutely protected by law. From late-night parking lot ambushes to deadly road rage encounters and armed home invasions, there are scenarios where the legal system will back you, but only if you know the rules. These rules are not about emotion or fear. They are built on statutes, precedent, and courtroom reality. And getting just one detail wrong can mean years behind bars or the loss of everything you thought you were protecting. In this video, we break down the real-world, legally sound moments when pulling the trigger can be your best defense and your strongest legal ground. These are not vague hypotheticals. These are case-based scenarios explained with real legal insight. This is Survival Firearms, and before we dive in, hit subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss another life-saving video. Your freedom depends on knowledge, and we are here to deliver it. Chapter 1. When someone points a gun at you. If someone draws a firearm and points it at you with a clear, immediate threat, that moment may legally justify the use of deadly force in nearly every state. The law focuses not just on the presence of a weapon, but on your reasonable belief that your life is in danger right then and there. A gun pointed directly at you creates an immediate threat of death or serious bodily harm. Most state self-defense laws permit deadly force if there is no safe means of retreat. You do not have to wait to be shot before responding with lethal force. The threat must be active and intentional, not accidental or negligent behavior. The key legal principle here is imminence. You must genuinely and reasonably believe that you or someone else is about to be seriously harmed. In such a case, drawing your weapon and firing may be fully justified, but if that person lowers their weapon or tries to flee, that legal justification could disappear just as fast. Chapter 2. When someone forces their way into your home. In most states, home is considered your castle, and under castle doctrine, you may have the right to use deadly force against intruders. But that right has conditions. Simply being afraid is not enough. The law requires that you recognize forced, unlawful entry or clear signs of violent intent. Castle doctrine laws protect homeowners against unlawful entry with criminal intent. You must not be the aggressor or invite the person into your home. If you shoot through a closed door without seeing a threat, that may not be justified. Use of force must match the threat, meaning verbal threats alone may not justify deadly action. This is where many gun owners get confused. Just because someone is on your property does not automatically mean you can shoot. But if they kick in your door, break a window, or enter while you are present, your right to defend yourself and your family becomes very real in the eyes of the law. Chapter 3. When you are trapped and cannot escape. Stand your ground laws in many states remove the duty to retreat, but even in states without such laws, the situation changes if you are cornered. If there is no safe escape and the threat is closing in, deadly force may be your last and only lawful option. Being trapped means you cannot safely withdraw without exposing yourself to harm. The threat must be active and escalating, not a past event or verbal confrontation. You do not need to prove that escape was impossible, only that it was not safe. The law focuses on what a reasonable person would do in your position. This chapter is one of the most misunderstood. Some prosecutors still try to argue that you could have run, but the courts often side with reasonableness. If the facts show you had nowhere to go and the threat was real, you may have strong legal grounds to stand and defend. Chapter 4. When someone tries to carjack you at gunpoint. A carjacking is not just a property crime, it is a violent, often armed confrontation that places your life in immediate danger. In nearly every jurisdiction, being pulled from your vehicle or threatened with force while inside your car is a scenario where deadly force can be legally justified. Most states recognize a vehicle as an extension of your home under certain self-defense laws. If an attacker opens your door or smashes your window with a weapon, the threat is immediate. You are not required to give up your car if doing so puts your life or the lives of others at risk. Using deadly force during a carjacking must be proportional and timely. The moment a carjacker brandishes a weapon or physically assaults you inside your vehicle, your right to defend yourself becomes active. But hesitation or excessive force after the threat is over can land you in legal trouble. Knowing where that line is makes all the difference. Chapter 5. When someone threatens your family with immediate harm, there's no greater fear than seeing a loved one in danger. Fortunately, the law allows you to use deadly force not just to defend yourself, but also to protect others, especially family, if they are facing an immediate threat of serious harm or death. Most states extend self-defense laws to the defense of others. You must reasonably believe that the person you are defending is in imminent danger. The law does not require you to be passive if your spouse, child, or parent is threatened. You are judged based on whether your actions were reasonable under the circumstances. You must be extremely careful. If you intervene to protect someone else but misread the situation or overreact, prosecutors may argue that your use of force was reckless. But when a clear threat exists and seconds count, the law is often on your side as long as your response matches the threat. Chapter 6. When you are trapped and cannot retreat safely, there are moments where retreat is not an option. If you are cornered, pinned down, or physically unable to escape an attack, the law recognizes that your right to self-defense becomes even more critical. This situation is where many stand-your-ground laws and common law principles of self-defense apply most powerfully. If you are in a confined space and the attacker blocks your only exit, the law favors your right to defend yourself. You do not have to prove that escape was impossible, only that it was not reasonably safe. Even in states without stand-your-ground laws, juries often sympathize with someone who had nowhere to run. Force must still be proportional, immediate, and aimed only at stopping the threat. Whether you are trapped in your car, backed into a hallway, or physically restrained during an assault, the law generally does not expect you to risk more injury trying to flee. In these moments, what you do next must be both defensive and reasonable, not vengeful or aggressive. Your ability to articulate why you felt escape was not safe may be the most important testimony you ever give. Know the law, protect your freedom. Every gun owner needs to know that self-defense laws are not about bravado. They are about survival. The difference between freedom and felony often comes down to how well you understand your rights, your responsibilities, and the legal definition of justification. You never want to pull the trigger unless your life, or the life of someone else, is truly in danger. If you carry, train not just with your firearm but with your mind, because prosecutors, juries, and the media will all question your decisions after the fact. Subscribe to Survival Firearms right now, because on this channel, we break down the truth behind every law, every ruling, and every scenario that could affect your freedom as a responsible gun owner. Like, comment, and share this video with every firearm owner you know, because what you just learned could be the difference between being a hero or becoming a headline.